All right, good morning. So let's get started. So we will start lying on the block with the block under the sacrum. Or you can lie flat with the legs extended. So here's the block coming down onto your mat. Inhaling and exhaling, taking a few breaths, arriving here on your mat in your body. And then getting your block under the legs, a little lift up, sliding the block under the sacrum, the back of the pelvis. Sliding the legs out to straight. And you can give a little push with the hands near your waist, getting a little bit more length in the lower back. And taking a few breaths here for yourself. Whatever you want to be doing, a little rocking on the block. Maybe the legs are a little wider. And then cooperating with the block, bringing the legs more into parallel. A little bit of reach through the heels, pulling up through the abdominal muscles, gently stretching yourself over the block. Inhaling up into the lower belly, exhale, pouring off. Feeling your breath, making all these little micro adjustments in your body. And then we will finish here. We take a stretch overhead with the arms. Stretching kind of long and flat. And bending the knees, lifting up off that block, rolling down, landing on the floor. Everything melts into the floor. And then let's come up in the bridge pose. Feet hip distance apart, heels under the knees, lifting up. Maybe using the interlocked fingers. You can always bend the elbows there, taking the hands onto the sacrum. And then slowly rolling down, landing on the floor. Inhale and exhale, softening into the floor. And then let's make our way up to sitting. And sitting in, not sitting in any comfortable position. I jumped to the end of class there. Sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And maybe a little lift from behind with those arms, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And slowly release with the arms, letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. And let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms up. Inhale and exhale, breathing them down wide. Let's do that twice more. And then coming forward and over, breathing into the back of the body. And then coming up, unfurling that spine back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhaling and exhaling. Remembering which leg is in front. I should have told you to put the right leg, but we'll remember, right? Which leg is in front as we take the legs out to Konasana, the angle pose. Giving a little lift here, reaching along the inner thighs and out the heels. And on a short forward to get settled in a little more. And coming back up. Reaching along through both heels. So I'll be the mirror here. I'll try to say left and right correctly. As we will take a side bend up and over to the left with the right arm. And feeling a little bit of twist and open, like there's also a twist to the right. And then we're going to come up And that left hand's going to come around to the right leg and the right arm's going to go around into the half binding. Now we're facing the right leg. And then take a few breaths, just feeling twist to the right. Twist to the right. And then reaching with that left arm out over the right leg. And anchoring that left sitting bone down, reaching out through the left heel. And then coming up, just unfurl the arms. A refresh of our Konasana. All right, and then the left arm up and over to the right, hopefully the other side. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling a little twisting left in this to keep that side bend very open and lifted. Couple more breaths here. And then coming up, and we're going to turn to the left. The left arm is going to go around into the half binding, reaching onto the left leg with the right hand. Take a few moments wrapping around to the left. And then reaching with that right hand out the left leg. I'm trying to keep that right sitting bone grounded down, reaching back through the right heel. And coming up, things unfurl back to the center. Deep breath here. And then let's go back to Sukhasana with the other leg in front. And we will come forward and over once again. And then coming up, unfurling the spine, back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And then let's come up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do. So keep walking that dog. I'm just going to adjust things. I don't think I have my screen very well centered here. Yes. All right, and then finishing up with whatever you're doing there in your dog and finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the and let's lengthen forward to the plank, long and flat against the ceiling. And then bending the knees and hovering those shins above the floor in the beast. So it's like being on all fours, but we've got our shins suspended. From those shoulder blades drawing back to the sitting bones, a little feeling of the knees and thighs pulling forward. One more breath, set the knees down. Just take a short pull back in child's pose. Don't really change anything. Just taking the weight off the wrist for a moment. And then we'll come back up and take a couple cats and cows. And then we'll let those cats and cows take us into Namaste, knees, chest, chin. So arriving in that cow back, a little bend to the elbows, pulling the upper chest forward, and then upper chest down. Sliding out to the small cobra, squeezing those elbows in and lengthening down. Two more small cobras, really working the upper back, maybe barely using the hands at all. And lengthening down and lengthening back up and lengthening down. And then let's peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. Looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. And folding over, taking a few breaths here in the forward bend. Inhaling up to those sitting bones, exhale, pouring down the backs of the legs. And you can run that circle the other direction, breathing up the backs of the legs. Exhale, pouring down through the top of the head. Maybe one direction seems more interesting to you today. And then let's make our way up to standing, rounding up or extending, and finishing in the big front body yawn. Lifting a little more, and pressing those arms down all the way around to Namaste in front. And then, so I'm going to turn and face you, but I'm not going to be the mirror. Let's bring those arms up and getting hold of the elbows. So you might want the feet hip distance apart, which is a little more stabilizing. So we're going to do a big circle around with the whole body slowly the first time. As we go up and over to the right, a side bend, and then we'll come forward with the bending of the knees and rounding forward and over to the center. And now the challenging part, coming up and around the left side, pulling that right arm and shoulder open back into a side bend to the left. And then up and over, maybe a little arch through the center. Let's do that slowly around again. Over to the right. And coming over and forward. And over to the left, straightening the legs, coming to that left side bend. And coming up. Releasing the hands, interlock the fingers behind, lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin, coming forward and over, pressing out through the hands. And then release the hands. And we'll take a little concave back, and we're going to come back up, folding over, coming back up to standing. And around to Namaste. Let's do that circling around in the other direction. It'll look better if I'm in the center here. All right, so in theory, we're standing at the front of our mat. Maybe you can change the cross of the elbows up there. So again, I'm not being the mirror here. The important thing is to try to go the other direction. As we feel a little lengthen up, side bend up and over to the left. Taking a breath or two. And then pulling down and around to the center with the bent knees. And then over to the right, we straighten up the legs, we come up into the right side bend. And back up to the center. And let's go around again, up and over to the left. And down and around to the center. And around and over to the right. And up and over to the center, releasing the arms. And then interlocking the fingers behind. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, pressing out through the hands. Release the hands. Concave back, halfway up. Folding over. And then jumping or stepping back through the vinyasa or not. Downward facing dog. Any version, you could do that Asta Namaskar again if you wanted. And then there we all are in downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up, reaching down through the left heel. And dog at the high fire hydrant. Through to the lunge. Long line from the top of the head out the left heel, and then we'll bring that left knee down and Jayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And let's bring the arms around and into the eagle pose, arms right arm under. Or you can hold the shoulders. And then taking a twist to the right, we still have our eagle pose arms, and coming forward and hooking those elbows over the outer right thigh, and kind of pulling the elbows back, making a little twist to the right. And then back to the center. And releasing the arms. And then let's turn to the elephant rider, feet on the diagonal, pressing the knees out. Little inner thigh stretch, maybe a little shifting in the hips. And then turning back to our right lunge. And let's come up in the high lunge. And bringing the arms all the way around, big circle around. Namaste in front, namaste into the floor. Stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift our left leg up. And dog at the high fire hydrant, bending the knee. Through to the lunge. And then bringing that right knee down and Jayasana. And then eagle pose, arms are holding the shoulders, left arm under. And then a twisting to the left and coming forward, hooking the elbows over the outer left leg, a little feeling of elbows pull back, top of the head pulls forward. Get back to the center. And release the arms. Turning to the elephant rider. Little inner thigh stretching out. And then turning back to the left lunge and coming up in the high lunge. And circling the arms. Namaste in front. And into the floor. Stepping back to the plank. Through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's come forward to that plank again. Bending the knees into the beast, shins hovering above the floor. You feel like you're pulling the knees forward, shoulder blades pulling the arms back. One more breath. Setting the knees down, coming up to stand on our knees. Let's see. I'll turn and face you. And since I've changed into not being the mirror, I won't be the mirror again. And then let's take a little Ustrasana, hands behind, lifting up and over the kneeling back bend, just going where you can go at this moment. And then lengthening up. And let's bring that right leg out to the slightly diagonal side. Standing right up on top of the left leg. Reaching the arms out, and we'll side bend up and over toward the right. And then still the side bend as we take a big reach around with the left arm and turning to face that right leg, coming down inside the right leg, finding a good spot here for yourself, getting a good stretch. You can flex that right foot and do a little pull back if you want. And then we'll just take the low, easy road, walking the hands around to the front, bringing your right leg back, coming back up onto the knees. A small Ustrasana, like going into the front body yawn. And coming up. And then let's do the left leg. Bringing the left leg out. Standing up on top of that right leg, arms out to the side. Up and over to the left. And staying up and over to the left as we take a big reach around with the right arm. And turning to face the left leg, coming down inside the left leg, wherever works for you. You can also, if you want, flex the left foot with a little pull back, if that feels good. And then we'll just take the easy way back, crawling around, retrieving your left leg, and then coming up onto the knees. And we'll Ustrasana once more, maybe this time going for the heels, sliding the hands down the backs of the legs. Inhaling and exhaling. Only work as hard as you need to. Sometimes we need to work a little less hard. And then coming up. Maybe a couple cats and cows on our way back to downward facing dog. And then once they're in downward facing dog, you can go through the vinyasa or not. And then looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Folding over. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste in front. All right, so we're going to do that circling around again, holding the elbows. And so we'll just be going side bending to the right and around, and we'll do it approximately 4 times, a little bit more quickly than those first times around. And then once we come back up here, we'll release the arms and do the interlock fingers and come forward. All right, so here we are, bringing the arms up, getting hold of the elbows. We'll reach up through the elbows, round down through the shoulder blades, and off we go. Up and over to the right, bending the knees round and a little hang for a moment in the center, and up and over to the left, bring that right arm all the way open, up and over the top, and 3 times more around. Inhaling and exhaling. Just notice how many breaths does your body want to take to do this. I think this is number 4 around. And then we will finish. Release the arms, interlock the fingers behind. And coming forward and over. Release the hands. Concave back, folding over. And then let's step back with the left leg. And we'll come up into warrior number 2, turning that left foot down 90 degrees. And into the warrior 2, the lateral lunge with our right leg front. Reaching through the inner thigh tract over the front. And dancing warrior. And into the triangle Trikonasana. Feeling that twisting to the leftness. And then a big reach around with the left arm down to the lunge. Stepping back, vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up. And bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. Through to the lunge. Coming back to the warrior 2 on the right again. And now we'll do the same sort of a thing, but a little different. And side bending away, dancing warrior. So we're going to let that side bend pull us around and down, sort of the back of the leg, coming through the center over toward the right leg, straightening that right leg, And then we keep going around. Left arm takes a big circle around and up, and we arrive in the triangle. And then let's reach with the left hand, coming up to standing into the warrior two. All right, let's do that once more now that we know where we're going. Deep breath. Dancing warrior. And then reaching around toward the back and coming down. Going through the center toward the right leg straightens, and we keep going around and we open up into the triangle, Trikonasana. Big reach around, turning toward the right leg, toward the lunge, bringing that left knee down. And we'll do an Anjayasana, but here with the hands on the floor, making it easeful. So if you wanted to bring the arms up, you could. Breathing here. And then we will step forward. And concave back, folding over. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste in front. Taking a few breaths here, smoothing everything out. And then we will be going around on the other side. And breathing the arms up and crossing the elbows. Maybe you can put the other forearm on top up there. And reaching up through the elbows, reaching down through the shoulder blades. And then around to the left first, 4 times as we side bend left, down and around through the center, over to the right, and up and open. And then 3 more times. Finding your rhythm of the breath, or maybe not thinking about it, just remembering to breathe. And then we will finish here. Release the arms to interlock the fingers behind. And coming forward and over. And release the hands. Concave back. Folding over. Stepping back with the right leg. And we'll come up in the warrior two with the left leg front. Nice and simple this first time. Reaching through the left inner thigh, over the knee, over the toes. Smoothing out that breath if it still needs some smoothing out. And dancing warrior, left arm up and away. And then into the triangle, Trikonasana, straightening the left leg, tilting over. And that little bit of twisting to the right, that's partly what we're going to need later to bring us into the triangle from underneath, as it were. And then a big reach around with the right arm, coming down to the lunge, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And we'll lift the left leg up. And dog at the high fire hydrant. Through to the lunge, coming up in the warrior two again. Arriving here nice and solidly. And then bringing that left arm up, dancing warrior. And then pulling even more, and then curving down towards your right leg, through the center toward the left, straightening up the left leg, and then the right arm takes over and comes up and open into the triangle. And coming up to standing, pull with that right hand, and then back to the warrior two, reaching with the left inner thigh and knee. And then we will go around once more. Dancing warrior. And pulling down and around toward the right leg, the back of the mat, through the center, straightening the left leg, the right arm takes you up and over, and into the triangle. And a big reach around with that right arm, coming down to the lunge, bringing the right knee down. And we'll just stay here in a low Anjayasana, though if you want to do something a little differently, go ahead. And then we will step forward into the concave back, halfway up, folding over, breathing into the forward bend, maybe feeling that circle again, up the spine from the top of the head into the sitting bones and up and across and down the backs of the legs. Smoothing out those two sides. And maybe trying the other direction, up the backs of the legs, pouring down and through the top of the head. And then let's bend the knees, coming down, sitting on the floor. And we will go to Namaste and Drasana. So let's see, I'll be the mirror again, just to confuse everybody. Let's bring the left leg down and cross the right leg over. And take a few moments standing on your right foot, standing on the sitting bones, long through the top of the head. And twisting to the right. Inhale and exhale towards your leg that's crossed over. Maybe bringing that left arm across if you want, if you haven't already. Left arm comes across, and usually we squinch down a little, and then try to press the shoulder down or lift through the top of the head again, maybe bending the arm into the good luck kitty, holding down with the elbow to lengthen through the top of the head. And back to the center, twisting to the left for the open side. And then walking the hands out to the left and coming over. Finding a good spot for yourself. You can be way over. You can resist a little more with that right sitting bone. And then we're sort of going to keep going there to the left. So we'll be facing the back of the mat as we disentangle the legs, come around into a Sphinx at the back of the mat. So we're not going to do anything complicated if your screen's now behind you. And take a few moments pulling through the elbows and hands in your Sphinx, reaching back through the legs, getting the two sides nice and even again. Oh. And then we will have my phone ring. As we reach long through the toes and bending the knees. So maybe this is as much of a bow pose as you want to do here at the end of class. Or getting hold of the ankles, reaching through the tops of the legs. And then calming down. And just peel ourselves back up. You can turn back to the front of the mat or whichever way, and we'll do all of that on the other side. All right, so Matsyendrasana, right leg down, left leg crosses over. And then we will twist to the left toward the crossed over leg. Inhale and exhale. And maybe bringing that right arm across, reaching up, lots of space, bringing the arm across, and then pressing the shoulder down to lengthen up, maybe bending the elbow. Get a really good pull down with the elbow and lift through the top of the head. And the good luck kitty pose here as we twist to the left. And then coming back to the center, and we will twist to the right, the open side. And then walking the hands out to the right, reaching back through that left sitting bone, resisting as much as you want, or maybe almost not at all as we come down and over. And then just disentangling the legs, coming to face the back, what might be the back of the mat in that Sphinx once more. Pulling with the elbows, pulling with the hands. And just staying here in the Sphinx another few breaths. If you liked doing that bow pose, maybe doing that again. And then calming down. And bringing the hands forward there so you can rest your forehead on your hands. Inhale and exhale, melting off the sides of the back into the floor. So it's already 10:30. If you need to finish up now, just take a few more breaths here in this downward facing Shavasana. If you have a couple more minutes, we'll continue on a little bit. All right, meanwhile, back to melting. And then we'll come up off the floor and around and onto our back. And we'll do the figure 4. And as we're doing our figure 4, getting halfway into Shavasana, crossing the leg over, reaching through the triangle, pulling that. Inhale and exhale. And then switching sides, crossing the other leg over, reaching through the triangle, pulling that in. Nice big round breaths. And then setting that down. And we'll just take a few more breaths here. You can have the legs bent or give them a little slide out. Inhale and exhale, sinking into the floor. And then one more deep, long breath. And then bending the knees, stretching the arms up overhead, making your way up to sitting. And taking another moment, sitting quietly inside yourself. And namaste. Thank you for coming.